Okay everybody, today I went down to the the police station to join up with a few people from Occupy who were filing complaints today. It was our formal complaint filing day. I think there was 10 in total, 11 including the one I already put in. And first things first, I spoke to Miles Howe. He was the first one who got his conditions changed, and this is what he had to say.
Okay, so today we're here outside of Gottingen Street Police Station, and we're taking the next step, which is to file police complaint forms. Police spokeswoman Teresa Rath has mentioned that no one has filed complaint forms. I know that to be not true. I know several have already filed them, but we figured today we'd have a little en masse filing day, so that's what we're up to. The complaints as they stand deal with a few subsections of the police code of conduct. They are section 24, subsection 1, A and E, which relate to treatment of prisoners, assaulting people in the public, 24, subsection 3, A and F, 24, 7, A and B, and also, interestingly enough, I believe it's section 24, subsection 9, deals with the seizure and treatment of property after it's taken away by police. And that's something that I would urge everybody to get involved with out there. You don't necessarily need to have been assaulted or brutalized by the cops on the 11th, or in my case the 12th as well. If you had anything taken from you in a manner, there's actually a manner that police are supposed to, if they are seizing property, there's procedures that they're supposed to go through in order to take that property. And legal voices have clearly stated that they did not comply or did not do their duty in that manner. So as far as I'm concerned, they're hanging out there with their butt, and this is just us filling out the forms right now.
And after I spoke with Miles, we simply just walked into the police station. There was about 11 of us, and we just waited in line, handed in the forms, and that was it. There's nothing really worth filming, to be serious. There was CBC and Global there with us, doing a couple interviews. They didn't ask me any questions, but they did film us just standing around talking to each other, going over some legal issues that we're all facing. And then I found out that John, those of you who've been watching the Occupy videos, you remember John. John's turned into a pretty good buddy of mine, a really nice guy, and he loves the camera. So he got his conditions of not being allowed in parks revoked today from his release forms. So I asked him about it, and this is what he had to say. Johnny boy!
Is that my cue? So I'm sure everyone remembers, on Remembrance Day we were forcibly removed, and there was a lot of bullshit that went on that day. So part of the conditions of our eventual release, mine happened to be just over 13 hours, was that we had to sign an undertaking with the conditions that we weren't allowed in any municipal, provincial, or federal parks. So today I had a court appointment to go in and challenge those terms, and when I got there I went in by myself, I defended myself, no lawyers, and before the judge even acknowledged me when I stepped up to the microphone, the prosecution had already started on his way over to come over to tell me that they were going to change the terms of my undertaking. So in about 5 minutes of conversation between the prosecutor and the prosecutor telling the judge what he wanted for new conditions, which was basically to keep the peace and show up for court, and a third one was to make sure I went to the court clerk and gave them my address and phone number. The judge laughed at the prosecutor actually when he suggested that one, telling him that that's only meant for special and certain conditions that didn't really apply to me. And then he laughed at the prosecutor, and then he asked me if I would accept those 3 terms regardless, and I said sure, not a problem. So now I am now allowed to go into all the parks in the HRM as long as I keep the peace and show up for court. So pretty happy.
It's like you and that guy right there.
Me and Miles, we're gonna go hang out later and just hang out in the park because we can.
Maybe walk the dog.
I hate you both. I'll get mine off eventually.
Why? I walked over Citadel Hill just to get here, not because I needed to, just because I could. And believe me, as a smoker of 15 years, it damn near killed me before I got to the top, but it was worth it. Worth it. It seems like such a small little thing, and I actually kind of just put it out of my head, but now that it's done, oh my God, what a great feeling. It's like, it's a big fuck you to the police because, no, it is. I mean, the police felt that this was necessary to keep us out of parks, and the justice system is laughing at them, literally laughing. So, I mean, what does that tell you about our actual charge of obstruction? I mean, if the judge is already laughing at our conditions, what's going to happen when we go to court? I'll tell you what's going to happen. It's going to get thrown the fuck out. And then the city is going to have a bunch of fucking wrongful arrest suits on their sorry asses because for some reason, the city of Halifax felt that they don't have to abide by the law like all the other Canadian cities that got court orders to remove their occupiers because they knew they needed them. Somehow the city of Halifax is special and can circumnavigate the legal system. Fuck that.
Isn't what we got arrested for supposed to be served with a ticket instead of...
It is absolutely... I don't have nothing. But yes, it's supposed to be served by a ticket. This is a happy guy!
Hi, Rob.
Yeah, it's a ticketable offense. They should have given us tickets. The police and the city of Halifax created an environment where we were breaking the law. It's like entrapment. They forced us into a position where we were going to get arrested when they had no right to do so, which makes the whole thing pretty much illegal as far as I'm concerned.
I'd like to say something else too. This whole thing about this recent thing that came up, $128,000 in police costs, and somehow council and the mayor would like to pin us with that, or pin that on us for some reason, as though oh, the Occupy movement cost taxpayers this much money. Nobody ever asked for an eviction by 40 special forces or whatever they're called, the guys that get hired. Nobody ever asked for them to come in and get paid time and a half on Remembrance Day. Nobody asked for the constant surveillance the next Saturday when we came down. Another 40 to 50 of them getting paid time and a half on a weekend. So, before you start laying those costs on an Occupy movement, perhaps you should look at the way that you actually act, and perhaps you should determine the actual choices that you make. Because as far as I'm concerned, that's another $140,000 that the mayor has cost this city. On top of what? $400,000 that he's already stolen from concert scandals? So what are we up to? A cool $500,000 now, Kelly? Why don't you just pack your bags and leave now?
Yeah. I love how that video ended with the two of them just like split off a screen. That was Miles. Oh, that guy's great. So yeah, that was our day today. Complaint forms filed. 11 in total, so now maybe the news will stop going around saying, oh, well, obviously it's not a big deal because nobody's filed any complaints yet. Well, now there's 11 of them. Don Mosier, you got some looks like that staff sergeant's got a lot of work to do. Now, not only does he have my complaint with all the video evidence and all the witnesses to go along with it, now he has 10 more to go along with it. So hopefully we can avoid the conflict of interest where the police complaints go to the police chief when it's conflict of interest for us because it was the police chief who gave the orders for the police to move in on us and evict us on that day. Since it was his orders that resulted in these complaints, he can't be the one that goes to decide on the complaints themselves. And also, when it's not decided with the police chief, then it goes to the board, and it's actually also a conflict of interest as well because the mayor heads that board, as well as 4 other council members for the city, who are also members and who are also had a hand in coming up with a secret committee to decide on what they should do and how to handle us. And that decision resulted in the police chief making the decision to kill and blah blah blah. So you guys see the conflict of interest within all that. Our legal group with the occupiers working out the details of how that's going to be done. There's a possibility that there'll be a special committee formed to make the decision on their complaints, and then we'll just go from there. So over the next week or so, we'll be looking at getting my conditions removed as well as a few other people, because apparently it's with Miles setting precedence and getting his taken off, and John today with the ease that he had getting his taken off. It should be pretty easy for the rest of us as well. And then I'll be allowed back in parks again, and I won't be considered and treated like a fucking 5-year-old. That'll be it for today. See you guys tomorrow. Stay strong, stay wise, live free. Peace.